Hey everyone, I am in the bowels of the arena here on the second to last day of MSI. I'm joined by Jatt. How's it going, Jatt?
Good. Bowels is a word I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, deep in the trenches. I don't know. I need something to describe like this strange hallway behind us because Ocelot stole our interview space like a jerk. Anyway, Jatt, talk to me a little bit about what this event has been like for you. I've been talking to different people. For me, I feel like the storylines are just really weird and kind of hard to follow, but I'm curious on your take.
Yeah, this is a weird one because I felt like this MSI more than any other one, everyone seemed to have mostly the same opinion of what was going to happen. They thought SKT was going to win. Most people even had Flash Wolf second. People said TSM would be fifth, WE and G2 would be third, fourth, and then Gigabyte Marines would be sixth. And then the tournament started, and you're like, well, SKT's the best, but everything is crazy. Anything could happen. And then Gigabyte Marines finished sixth, TSM finished fifth, and the only thing that was different was Flash Wolves was fourth, and they moved down from two. So I think expectations-wise, they were pretty set coming in. Maybe people did a better job scouting, and even though there were a lot of surprises, like the end results haven't been that crazy so far.
For you, when you come to cast an event or be on the analyst desk, is it boring whenever it's just sort of like, yep, SKT's just doing their thing again, like they have for the last couple of events?
That's the thing, right? I am not bored of it, but I don't want the story to get old. I think every sport actually kind of struggles with this in some way, shape, or form in some point during their history. Like golf did an amazing job covering Tiger Woods when he was dominant. Tiger Woods brought a lot of people into the sport, but they made it really cool and exciting every single time he won. When the Chicago Bulls were dominant in basketball, Michael Jordan became a global icon. They won 6 out of 8 years, right? So there are ways to consistently tell the story and appreciate greatness. And SKT is continually reinventing that word as far as League of Legends is concerned. How long can you sustain excellence? How do you sustain excellence? Who do you sustain excellence with? So the more we can tell those stories and the less repetitive those become, the less boring it is. Because it's boring if you just say, oh yeah, SKT is faker and they're good, and every conversation is about how you beat SKT, where we're getting better at telling the story over time, and if they continue to do this, I just want to follow the story.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, that's a really good approach to this stuff. Conversely, and I'd love to talk to you a lot about this, especially since I think many people consider you an honorary member of TSM. Maybe you can tell me, what is going on with North America at international events? Why does this keep happening? This is a question everybody's asking themselves. Curious if you have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, A, it hasn't been good. B, I think there is a separation between TSM and North America. COG did quite well last year at MSI, and even I ended up forgetting that. It's like so much to gain with North America succeeding at international events if you're not named CLG, because they finished decently. Cloud9 made it into the bracket stage last year, right? I do think TSM clearly struggles here, and it's always hard to make the evaluation of, man, this team was so much better in North America. And you could say that against G2, oh man, this team looks so much better in Europe. Flash was, oh, they look so much better in the LMS. But when your competition is better, you end up looking worse because it's a game where you're competing directly against someone else. I think every time TSM falters, it gets worse for North America. I feel like what is going on, I'm honestly not entirely sure. I do feel like part of it is mental. Part of it is the patch was not good. And part of it is they just haven't been good for a while. So a lot of that just becomes the general strength of the team overall. And you can't make excuses anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people have been asking themselves the question of, is when TSM comes here and they look bad, is it because they are playing against all these better teams, or is it honestly because they are playing worse than normal? Like, and then all these little moments where like Wild Turtle's on the front lines and like dies, or Sven just dies, or people just die. They look way worse, right? So it's hard to. And I'm kind of curious on your take. Like, is that just stuff that happens in LCS, but then when anybody, so nobody remembers it, or is that truly like these guys are underperforming?
Yeah, I think what you're mentioning are they bad or are they playing bad? I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely feel like they had some much more decisive calls in the North American LCS, and they felt to me like they were playing not to lose. I know Bjergsen, I think, was on stream when a bunch of people said he was playing scared. It's like, I'm not scared. Sure, you weren't scared, but you were passive. I definitely feel like TSM was playing passive in a lot of situations. You don't have a 10,000 goal lead against G2 and lose because you're over-aggressive. They were overly passive in that game, and also G2 had better scaling. I definitely feel like there is an element of them playing worse than what they can do, but that is true of almost every team, not SKT. I don't think any of the teams that were kind of, even WE in the first week, so 2 through 5 even, I don't think Gigabyte Marines succumbed to the pressure, had moments where the stage took them a little bit back from their best game that they could play. And I think that happened more to TSM than to other teams.
I'm keeping an eye on the time because I know your game starts soon. You got to get up there, but we have a couple more minutes. This is kind of fun because people will see this interview after this game is finished, this match that's about to happen between G2 and Team WE. So I will pull a little bit of a dash and ask you exactly what is going to happen in the next match.
Next match is WEG2.
Yeah.
Exactly what is going to happen, since this is an after.
Yes.
If the analyst desk doesn't lie to me, the other two guys are going to predict 3-1 for WE. I'm going to predict 3-0. Okay. I don't want European fans to hate me, but that's just what my opinion is, and I have to be true to that. I feel like Team WE ramped up a lot throughout the group stage, and they were the only team that I felt like consistently gave SKT a run, not to mention they dominated G2 in both of their games. Looking at the way G2 kind of gets their advantages, I feel like WE is almost uniquely positioned to counter that. Mystic's laning phase is stronger than Sven's. They've tried the scaling strategy, and Team W was able to take it down. I feel like Xie has been one of the most underrated players at this stage, whereas Perkz, I feel like, has gotten a lot of worthy praise, but I think Xie can totally match him. And the rest of WE just looks like they have settled in, where I don't necessarily feel like that is true for G2. So exactly what's going to happen. Unlucky. I feel like we're going to get 3 pretty quick games, and when that doesn't happen, I'll look like a fool, but that doesn't matter.
Okay, then tomorrow, do we also get 3 pretty quick games like yesterday and possibly today?
So I have a mental block at this point, because any time I think maybe this team could give SKT a run for their money, they don't. Okay. So maybe WE could give them a run for their money. You look at the 2 games they played in the group stage. Team WE had advantages in both of them, got Baron stolen in both of them, and still ended up winning one of them. But it's SKT against a team that hasn't played internationally. For the most part, this Team WE team is still super young, so I'm expecting a 3-0, but I'm much more confident in WE's ability to take one game than I was Flashwell's ability to take one game.
Okay, and then finally, as we're wrapping up, excuse me, what does it mean for MSI if group stage was kind of like a cluster, and then the bracket stage was just all clean 3-0s?
It would mean that SKT and WE were much better than the competition. And that would actually be pretty cool for me for Worlds. I really love it when the home crowd believes and has like a really strong team to get behind. It was super disappointing last year when TSM flopped out during the North American Worlds. It was super cool when Europe had 2 semifinalists when we did Worlds in Europe. So I really want Team WE to give them a run for their money. I think it's good that they did 5-0 in the second half of the bracket stage. And I've talked about this on the dive and some other things. I feel like China should theoretically be getting better at a faster rate than other regions. So I want to see them start leveling up and moving towards that, and we have a chance of seeing it here at MSI. I think the NBA playoffs are going through a similar thing right now where everything is a sweep and you see the 2 Titans clash in the final. If that happens with Worlds between KT Rolster and SKT, there's not really much we can do about it. We'll just end up telling the story.
Jatt, the PR people are telling me to cut this off. Is there anything you have to say to any of the fans? Really quick.
Thank you for following all the content. Check out The Breakdowns. Irene just took it over. The Dive is a cool podcast I do with Kobe and Azael on a weekly basis. Check that out. Listen to Travis. He's still doing good work, has been doing it for 5 years, and watch the show.
Thank you so much. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things MSI here at Yahoo Esports.